I think, to me, Kirk Cousins is going to sign with the Atlanta Falcons. And it's really no brainer. Like, if you look at it from Kirk's perspective, where's the best landing spot for him? It's Atlanta, and it's really not even close. First and foremost, if Kirk goes to the Falcons, they're a guaranteed playoff team. Lock it up. Falcons, one of the 7 playoff spots in 2024 in the NFC. No doubt about it. Partly because, even with Baker Mayfield signing in Tampa Bay earlier today, to me, the Falcons are still the team to beat in the NFC South if they do land Kirk. So, you're guaranteed a playoff spot if you land Kirk Cousins. If you're Kirk, you go to a team in Atlanta that's in the easiest division in the NFL. NFC South, where outside of Baker and the Bucs, you have no one else to worry about. Saints are a non-factor. They're, to me, a total mess. They have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I don't know what their direction is. Derek Carr is not very good. Dennis Allen's not a very good head coach. They're just a mess. So New Orleans has a lot to figure out. The Panthers can't get out of their own way right now. They're a non-factor as well. It's a 2-team race for the division. I think the Falcons would be better with Kirk than the Buccaneers. But either way, you are in the easiest division where you have, I would say, 4 free wins between New Orleans and Carolina. 4 free wins in the division. That's the reason why, if you're Kirk, it makes sense for you to leave Minnesota and go to Atlanta, where you look at right now the NFC North. Detroit right now going nowhere, only getting better. Bears are about to draft Caleb Williams. I think he's the real deal. And the Vikings, and look where they are. Packers seemingly have a quarterback in Jordan Love. Vikings right now are in a tough spot. They're in a really tough spot where there's no easy win. There's no rollover team in the division. You're in a much better spot if you're Kirk of making the playoffs and winning the division in Atlanta than you are in Minnesota. You also have, I would say, the best offensive line that's possible for you to go to in 2024. Atlanta can absolutely protect him. Where you look at Kirk Cousins, most hit quarterback in 2022, was on pace to match that in 2023 if he didn't get hurt. But he's taken a beating in Minnesota. That offensive line has not done a good job in protecting him, in keeping him upright. So if you're Kirk, you could go down to Atlanta where they have a better offensive line, where they could keep you upright, and you don't have to worry about taking a licking at 36 years old coming off an Achilles injury. You're better protected in Atlanta with better talent around you. Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London. That wide receiver, tight end, running back trio is better than the wide receiver, tight end, running back trio you have in Minnesota. Justin Jefferson, awesome. TJ Hockenson, really good. But there's no run game in Minnesota whatsoever. So there's no play action ability, no threat to keep the defense honest. Even though you have, you could argue, a better receiver and tight end in Minnesota than you do in Atlanta, that lack of a threat of a run game makes Kirk's job harder. So you can have a better offensive output, a better offensive performance because Atlanta has a better run game than Minnesota. That's why overall, I think you could argue the Falcons, and I will, have a better offensive situation right now than you do in Minnesota. And they also have one of the better cap situations in the NFL. $40 million available for Atlanta. So you can sign Kirk, also make some other moves as well to bolster your roster. You're picking number 8, so you can get a receiver, offensive line help. Like, you can get a playmaker at pick number 8 as well to even add to this already talented offensive group. I think it's a no-brainer for your Kirk Cousins. This makes all the sense in the world. Atlanta provides you a guaranteed playoff spot, an easier division, a better offensive line, I'll say better overall skill talent, comparable cap situation to Minnesota. Every box is checked in favor of Atlanta. I have no idea why you would go back to Minnesota and say no thank you to the Falcons. The Falcons are clearly interested. By all reports, Kirk is number 1 on their board. in terms of offseason QB priorities. They want you. I don't know why you would say, no, thank you, I'm going to stay in Minnesota or go elsewhere at this point. I don't know where else you're going to go that gives you a better option to win. But all the signs point to the Falcons, and it makes all the sense in the world if you are Kirk Cousins to choose Atlanta right now over Minnesota. Also, I mean, this is you would think, a pretty important factor. I failed to mention up to this point. His wife's from the area. Guys, we know it. Happy wife. You can finish it. Happy life. See the family more often. I'm sure his wife would appreciate that. So now all of a sudden you get closer to family, winnable division, stay in the NFC, which is a winnable conference. Everything points to Kirk, to the Falcons. Especially now with Russ now signing with the Steelers, one team that was in need of a quarterback upgrade off the table. It makes all the sense in the world. It's a no-brainer, really. Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons. That, to me, is the best landing spot for Kirk this offseason.